right, buckle everyone. We've got a busy edition of Weather for Weather Geeks on this 23rd day of March in the year 2023. An unexpectedly kind of eventful afternoon. We even had a severe thunderstorm warning accompanying some storms that moved through that had some hail, and we'll show you what happened here momentarily. Let's first look at what is transpired as far as the first round of rain. Kind of two main rounds of rain with our late week and weekend system. One wrapping up this evening. The next one is Friday night into parts of Saturday. We've seen well over an inch in some spots. These are actual rain gauges across our area. And up on the roof here at WFMJ in downtown Youngstown, 1.43 inches, 1.39 down towards Glenmore, Calcutta, East Liverpool area, and pretty close to an inch in many other locations, including up to an inch and a half in southwestern Trumbull County around Newton Falls, where they had a pretty bad thunderstorm with some hail earlier on today. Speaking of the hail, thanks to Bill over in Lawrence County, a few miles northwest of Newcastle, for sending in this video. This was representative of what a lot of us saw late this afternoon, especially during the 4 o'clock hour. We had pea-size hail, even up to about penny-size hail in some spots, from southern Trumbull County through Mahoning County into parts of Lawrence County as well. And that was a pretty intense thunderstorm that moved through. It had quite a bit of thunder and lightning with it, but it was racing. I mean, this thing was moving at about 70 miles per hour from the west to the east. I'm recording this video at 7:08 this evening, and we've got a few leftover showers. There's still a few claps of thunder over towards Grove City in southeastern Mercer County, but the heavy rain that we had earlier in Columbiana County has moved on, and we're not expecting too many bouts of heavy rain from here on out. In fact, the area-wide rain chances will decrease pretty rapidly over the next couple of hours. Let's actually put a loop on the temperature graphic here. We'll show you our strong cold front pushing from south to north today. We made it into the upper 50s to around 60 in some spots, but now we're backing off into the 40s pretty quickly this evening. We got into the upper 70s in parts of West Virginia today. It's still in the 70s in Charleston, but not for long as our cold front continues its southward sag. That front's actually going to stall in southern Ohio and stall close enough to our area that we can't rule out maybe a little rain grazing Columbiana County by tomorrow morning. In the meantime, Severe Weather Awareness Week in the state of Ohio rolls on, and in this video and social media and on 21 News at 5, 6, and 11, we've been talking about different aspects of severe weather this week as we head into the spring and summer season. And I finally, on Thursday, day 4 of Severe Weather Week, I finally tempted fate and started talking about sirens on social media and on this video. Sometimes when I talk about sirens, especially in the wake of a severe thunderstorm or tornado situation, I get some comments on Facebook in particular, a lot of siren advocates out there. Some people, something I don't quite understand, how some people will defend these things to the death. Sirens serve a very limited function in the year 2023. A lot of people think they are the be-all end-all, but they are certainly not. This is an outdated technology, an unreliable technology that dates back to the first couple of world wars. It's getting to be almost a century ago now, well over a century since World War I, and almost a century since World War II, next decade. They were never designed to be heard indoors. This is the kind of thing that, okay, you can maybe hear it in your house depending on where you live when they're testing them and in some storm situations, but are you going to depend on this thing to wake you up in the middle of the night if there's a tornado warning? Or, in many other situations? The answer should be no. Everyone should have about 3 ways of receiving severe weather warnings. Most of them these days are going to be based around a mobile device. I understand not everyone has a mobile device, especially older populations in nursing homes and things like that. And NOAA weather radio is a good way to be alerted in homes and businesses. These are relatively inexpensive, $25-$30 investments that could save you and your loved one's life, because a NOAA weather radio will not fail, and it can be battery powered, and so even if your power goes out, you're still going to get that warning. All right, enough about sirens. Well, no doubt that topic will be revisited at some point this year whenever we have severe weather. I mentioned our front sagging to the south tonight, far enough to the south that a lot of us are going to be dry after about 8 o'clock this evening, 8 or 9 o'clock, and then we'll be dry for most of our Friday. But I can't rule out tomorrow morning getting grazed by a touch of rain down towards, say, Route 39, Salineville, over towards Highlandtown, down towards East Liverpool, and especially once you're down towards Wheeling and Steubenville and Pittsburgh, you have a better chance of getting a little bit wet late tonight into tomorrow morning. The highest rain chances overall, I-70 and south as Friday starts. For most of us, pretty uneventful day, cooler than today, and then here comes our front lifting back north by our Friday night. And I think once the rain pushes back in, it's going to come down at a good clip for a lot of the overnight hours and into very early Saturday morning. The wettest part of Saturday overall will be from about sunrise, or I should say, the couple of hours before sunrise up to about sunrise. After about 7:30 or 8 in the morning, we go into more of a scattered shower regime with several intervals of dry weather. In fact, the sun will try to come out as we go towards lunchtime. As it does so, temperatures will rocket into the 60s. Sunshine, not necessarily a good thing, though. I think we're going to have to be a little bit cautious about early afternoon. You don't see much on our model here, and I think the coverage overall will be pretty small with scattered showers and possible thunder early in the afternoon, say between 1 and 4. But it's during that window that we're going to have a lot of wind shear up above our heads, changing a wind direction and especially wind speed with height through the atmosphere. Very strong winds aloft. And enough instability could be generated, especially if the sun comes out and dew points shoot up into the 50s. Enough instability could be generated that anything that does manage to get going early in the afternoon on Saturday could try to rotate. I'm not real confident on this idea still today, but it's something we're going to keep a close eye on. Then our front comes through late in the day, temperatures start dropping, and a cooler but brighter and calmer day coming our way on Sunday. We can have a nice second half of the weekend to look forward to. We've already picked up 1 inch to 1.5 inches of rain in a lot of spots. Here's what's to come through Saturday night. Probably an average of another inch or so worth of rain. So a storm total will probably be between 2 inches and 2.5 inches in some spots for the whole kit and caboodle from today through Saturday evening. The wind is going to mean business, though, independent of any showers and storms on Saturday. Even when the sun is out, the wind is going to be an issue on Saturday. This is secure, loose outdoor items kind of wind coming our way Saturday. Already by midday gusting to 30 to 40. I think we could see a 45 to 50 mile per hour gust before the afternoon is through, with the winds probably peaking somewhere in here, 3 to 5 p.m., something like that. Maybe a 60 mile per hour gust over towards I-71. I think 45 to 50 will be pretty common around here. I was a little bit surprised this morning that the Storm Prediction Center did not have a skinny, what we call marginal risk. That's that level 1, low-end risk of severe weather. If you think of our severe weather scale as a 1 to 5 scale, I thought maybe they would paint a, kind of a 1 somewhere in here on Saturday. And it'll be interesting to see in the middle of the night tonight when they issue their outlook for day 2, which will be Saturday at that point, if they include a somewhat higher risk level, just in case we have any rotating thunderstorms that try to get going early in the afternoon on Saturday. Real quickly this evening, we'll try to make this real quick anyway, a little bit of a long-range chat, and this is a pretty technical discussion here, but wanted to talk a little bit about what we expect to have happening as we go into the month of April. This is what we call the MJO, Madden-Julian Oscillation. You may have seen me talk about this in my seasonal forecasts, the winter forecast wrap-up that we did a few weeks ago. Basically, there are 8 quadrants, and the MJO has to deals with clusters of thunderstorms over the tropical Pacific and even into the Indian Ocean. Those semi-organized clusters of storms can have impacts and influences on the weather patterns downstream into North America, especially in the wintertime. But even in the spring, it can have an influence. There's 8 quadrants. When the MJO is in certain quadrants or phases, that favors warm weather in the eastern U.S. When it's in other phases, it tends to favor colder weather in the eastern U.S. This is where we've been, this black line through here. We've been traversing regions or zones 7, 8, and into 1. Now we're into 2. We're going to go into what's called the neutral circle here in a few days. That's basically where the MJO doesn't have much impact on our weather when this is in the neutral circle, but it's probably going to reemerge in April into phases 7 and 8. All right, so what's that mean? If the MJO goes into phases 7 and 8, that typically means cooler weather is favored for a time, especially if it's in phase 7. Here's the kind of the correlations for our different phases in kind of meteorological spring, March, April, May. Here's phase 7 right here. Warmer pattern, and don't like that in parts of the west. A little bit on the warm side, maybe in the southeast. We're kind of in a battle zone where cold may be favored, and also pretty active weather may be favored. So at this point, I would surmise that we're going to have an active April at least for a while, and a pretty chilly April at least for a while. There's going to be some warm intervals sprinkled in, no doubt. But I would put my money on the side of it being an overall kind of chilly month of April in the grand scheme of things when it all comes out in the wash at the end of April. All right, long enough video tonight. Thanks for hanging with me on this Thursday evening. Look for more updates on social media, 21 News at 11 tonight, anytime on the Storm Tracker 21 app, and we'll talk more about the weekend weather and the changeable conditions coming up on Friday on Weather for Weather Geeks.